Hey everybody, welcome to our two-part series of the making of the band Hammerstone. I'm Dustin, I'm the drummer, and in this series we're going to talk about how this band came to be, how all the members got pulled in, the writing of the material, the recording of the album, and the release of all the singles that you guys have been able to enjoy so far. So stick around for both parts. Please remember to like the videos, subscribe to the channel, leave comments down below so that we can continue to bring you free content. So now, without further ado, the making of the band Hammerstone. So back in 2016, kind of free from a lot of projects that I had been in at that time, I got the idea to finally kind of get all these riffs that I had in my head out that had been floating around in there for many years. Stuff that I tried to, float through other bands, and it just didn't work out for one reason or another. Guitar player didn't like it, singer didn't like it, or it just didn't fit the style of the band. So I thought, I'm going to do my own record finally. Started tracking these ideas, and as I got further into it, the idea kind of morphed to, okay, I'm not that great of a guitar player, so I'm going to need to pull in friends that can help me kind of realize what I'm hearing in my head. I could get the basic idea out, and that's when I pulled in Doug. Doug and I met through a cover project that we did a few years back. I think it was 2012 or 2000. So we always kind of knew like we were going to do something musically. So he was the first guy I tapped to come in, and I figured at first, like I would do all of the rhythm guitars and the bass and the drums, and then I would have Doug come in and do like, guitar harmonies and solos and whatnot. And then it kind of became apparent that I wasn't that great at rhythm guitar either. Again, drummer, knows some power chords, there's some limitations there. Definitely no Dave Grohl. Sent a couple of tunes off to Doug, and he tracked some stuff on it and sent it back to me, and I was like, okay, wow, so that's what this is going to sound like with a real guitar player on it. And you flash forward about 6 or 8 months, and I was at the birthday party for another drummer friend of mine, Kareem Imes, who drums with Year of the Dragon and Off Color, and his guitar player, Roger, I had known for years through that Off Color connection, was there, and he and I started to talk, and I was like, hey, man, look, I'm doing this thing, and I'd love to have you come in and play guitar. I know that your style's a little different from the other guy, but I think it'd be cool. And he was like, well, man, I haven't played guitar in a couple of years, and I'm really, I'm doing my own business and stuff like that. And I was like, no, you're gonna be in my band. You're just pick up your guitar and start practicing. I kind of don't give a shit if you haven't played in a couple of years. You're a great guitar player and you have killer ideas, so let's do this. So Roger begrudgingly agreed to come down, and we started jamming a couple of tunes that I had kind of fleshed out. Then it got to the point where it was like, okay, the three of us were pretty committed to putting something together, and we needed a bass player. And we tried out a couple of guys that, for one reason or another, either stylistically or schedule-wise, just didn't work out. And that's when T-Bone came into the picture. Now for you is feel the pain. And T-Bone and I go way back. We met back in Berkeley, both going to Cal Berkeley in the early 90s, and had tried to form a band back then, but as shit is when you're 20, 22 years old. Things are crazy and everybody's off doing their own thing. And T-Bone was in a really cool band called Puntango at the time, which I loved, and they'd play like frat parties and local gigs and whatnot. So he jumped at the chance for us to, like, you know, finally do a band, you know, whatever that, 25 years later, you know, 27 years later. And so we started kind of rehearsing and really fleshing out all these ideas that I had put forward, and things were sounding really good. And it was like, okay, shit, you know, this is, I think we need to take the next step and like find somebody to really, who can really handle vocally what's going on here, this super heavy rock music. And we tried out a few people. A couple people were, we had our eyes on one person who, for some reason or other, just, you know, got super flaky and couldn't commit. I had kind of tried to start a cover project with Willie McClung, who's actually our singer. It's so hard to survive. And I lost touch for a few years, and so I got back in touch with him and sent him an MP3 of this tune that I was calling Big Bear Chill Rock, because I wrote the riff in my cabin up in Big Bear over like Thanksgiving a couple years back. And it was a great place to like create music. It was just quiet, and I could set all my crap up in the corner and light a fire, and, you know, fresh air and no sirens and no cell phones and whatnot. It was great. And so we finished this whole tune. So we had it all arranged, and we had it fairly nicely recorded on Logic, and I emailed the MP3 to Willie, and like 6 days later we get this thing back, fully written, all the vocal melodies, all the lyrics, and it just fucking blew us away. It was like, wow, this is the guy.
Hey there. Thank you for watching part 1 of the making of the band Hammerstone. Stick around. Part 2 is coming right up. Until then, rock on.